Aloha, everybody. Welcome to the Hawaiiverse podcast, a podcast that supports local by smoking i'o, not batu. I'm your host, Kamaka Diaz, and Happy New Year. We hope you ended the year with an Utu Bang Bang. Bang. Before we introduce our musical guests, don't forget to head to Hawaiiverse.com to buy local products from local businesses and help us in our mission of supporting local. Download our app at the App Store, and if you love this podcast and want to support us so we can keep bringing you great content, make sure you head to patreon.com and sign up for our Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Okay, let's introduce our guest. Our guest today is a performer from the island of Oʻahu. He is a girl dad ×2 and is a Hawaiian language perpetuator and lover of the ʻāina. He is the lead singer of his band Kaʻikena, Scanlan, and These Guys, a group that adds a cultural twist on lyricism that aims to revolutionize the face of a genre they call Hawaiian Reggae. This kumu turned musician has had many hit songs such as Utu Bang Bang, Smoke All Day, and He Kanaka. When he's not performing, you can find him on his farm or drinking one cold one from Ola Brew. He is your palala, my palala, everyone's palala. He is Kaikena Scanlan. Aloha Kaikena, welcome to the podcast.
Aloha kako. Ho. Oi aku kamai kai ke ia manawa. Oi hoi loa ka lohe ana I
No ka mea ke ia ole ka pia.
Oia mau ka pia ka. Mahalo nui a oi e kamaka. That's crazy intro. I didn't know I was all those things. So
well, now you know.
Mahalo.
Yeah, you know what we know now.
Yeah. It's out. Secret's out.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm so happy to be here, and I just want to give a shout out to Ola Brew for letting us come to their executive center. Is that what it's called?
I believe this is just going to be the future hale and home of okoles for Ola Brew, but right now it's formerly known as the Wainaku Executive Center or Wainaku Ventures.
Okay.
Here in Wainaku, Hilo.
Yes, and this is the first podcast of the new year, 2023. Super stoked. I'm glad that I get to kick it off in Hilo, my hometown.
Hey,
it's gonna be a good one. Mahalo. And let's get into it because we have a lot to get into, and of course we gotta start from Kinohi, the beginning. Where you from? Where you grad? And what was it like growing up?
I am originally from Kailua, Oʻahu, on the east side. So I moved a little further east. Graduated from Kailua High School, however, spent majority of my high school career in Kamehameha Schools Kapalama. And what was the third one? What was it like growing up?
Yeah, what was it like growing up?
Well, I am the youngest of 7. Samoan side from my dad, Hawaiian side from my mom. Unfortunately, tragically, my father passed away before I was born. But luckily, I was the youngest of 7, so we had the whole army there and the whole village already in the household to help take care of us. My mother married into another relationship and was raised by a man from Minnesota, Chicago area also. And he played a really big father figure in my life also. And so, it was a little different, especially knowing nowadays the stereotypes and the, practical thoughts about Kailua. It's the touristy town. There's a lot of, foreigners. It's really high end and hard to find, solid Hawaiians, but trust me, they do exist. We do exist. It's a pretty mellow life. Young kid.
What were you into? Were you also into music, sports?
I was into music
paddling,
for sure
surfing?
Since day one. My oldest brother, he's 17 years older than me. So he definitely was like my father figure.
Wow.
And
he technically could have been your father.
Technically,
yes.
Right. Facts. And he did play that role. He was, pretty mature at that point, and he made sure to instill in me the virtues of music and trying to, insist that I play music. So every birthday, every time he would come visit us after he moved to California, he would visit us and he would, either give me a new instrument or teach me a new instrument, and always put that in me all the way until college when I started, kind of releasing music. Then he started hooking me up with studio gear. He said, you got to be a performing artist and you have to keep recording. And so, my brother was a huge part of my life, but also, growing up, you got a bunch of, adversaries, rivals, always in the household. So it's always fun.
Well, it's fun. I mean, I have 5 siblings, so, big family. There's always like a lot of yelling, a lot of, playing games,
For sure.
Possibly some holes in the walls or doors. slip
Yeah,
us flying
Samoan family
around.
too. You
Yeah.
gotta remember on this side.
You probably had it worse than me. Yeah. But yeah, that's I didn't know you came from such a big family. And what I was wondering, because you're such an advocate for Ola Hawaii and the culture, was that always a part of your childhood, or is that something you found later on in life?
Yeah, not at all part of my child. I guess you would kind of sum it up into my childhood. But my mom didn't speak Hawaiian. None of my grandparents. Yeah, we didn't have anybody in the household speaking Hawaiian. But my sister, who's just 3 years older than me, had gone to Kapalama when I was in about 7th grade. She was in sophomore year. And I was already kind of kolohe. I had, had a kind of a temper tantrum as a young child, but she always, she would come home with these Hawaiian language homework assignments, and she would be working on. I said, "What are you doing? What is this stuff you're reading and you're talking about?" And she said, "You know what? You should learn this and you should get into it. And this will help kind of straighten you out, kind of give you a purpose and a path." And so I mahalo her every time, hokulani. And just for, giving me that little insight. I tried to tell her this story, and she's like, "I don't remember that story ever." I was like, "No, for sure." I was like, watching you do homework, and then eventually I had you help me do homework. But yeah, I learned in high school, then continued into college and got my bachelor's and started on my master's program, but didn't really complete it. But that's why I always kind of give everybody, and they give themselves grief. So, it's too late. I'm so mad at myself. Or I feel so bad because I don't speak Hawaiian. It's like, well, it's never too late. There's still a class being held today. You could go sign up and you could get on that, And I always like to say that the system was put in place by the time, our generation and the generation before was coming in, that the Hawaiian language was banned, right? And it was abolished and it tried to get erased. So the system was already there to erase the language. So it's not, anybody's fault that we're born into this system where, it's hard to get the grasp on this language and hard to, find yourself in it. But if we don't do anything for the next generation, if we don't change that system, if we don't put our influence into it, then that's all on us, right? Yeah. That's our generation doing that. So
yeah, and there's already a huge movement. We're part of it. I think, the growth of Hawaiian language is crazy since the time I was in Punana in the late 90s. And then now we're in 2023.
We made it, guys.
Yeah, we're still alive, still kicking. The language is blooming, it's blossoming. I love to see it. I think at some point, the next level, I think, is just normalizing it.
Right.
Continue to grow, continue to add speakers, but to normalize it in everyday life. I think which is why I love your music.
Right. That's our whole thing. And growing up, we get that stereotype also of like, oh, you're gonna be a Hawaiian language student, and what are you gonna do? You're just gonna end up teaching Hawaiian. Like,
most
useless.
times you just you graduate, you go back to the school and work for that school.
And that was the narrative put on us, like, oh, why are you gonna go learn Hawaiian? All you're gonna do is just teach Hawaiian to more people who are gonna get stuck in the cycle. But to be able to break that cycle, right, and to be not just a teacher of the language, but to educate through other means, whether it be entertainment or like you said, just everyday usage. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, and start small. If you're trying to learn Hawaiian, like start just by scolding your kids in Hawaiian.
Right.
Just like using small commands,
I would say, yeah, we didn't have speakers who were like fluent, but we definitely got the, avivi,
hurry up.
Yeah, kuli, those kind of things. So, yeah. Definitely was alive.
Definitely. Still, just holding on to a pulse. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to talk about, and we'll get back into like the Hawaiian culture and all that stuff, but I want to talk about what seems almost like a meteoric rise to just like this amazing career that you started. It kind of just, at least for me, because I got back from my mission in Madagascar in 2019, and by the time I got back, you were already blowing up. I had no idea. I've never heard of you. Came back. I was gone. I didn't have Wi-Fi and stuff, but came back. Like, I'm hearing this song, Utu Bang Bang, all over the place.
What does it even mean?
I was like, was this the thing we were saying growing up? Is this like a new slang that we've been saying? I was so confused. It was so good though. It's so catchy. Everyone was loving it. And then you just became this like, at least local superstar. I think it's safe to say that.
Is that for real?
I'm pretty sure that's facts.
It's heavy.
I saw videos like Kamehameha School, Ho'olaulea, like all these the big events, the kids
the
singing
KWXX.
along. It was crazy. I'm like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
So how did that happen?
There's a new show in town. Come on down to Waimanalo, relax in the Makapu'u meadows of Sea Life Park, and experience the Aloha Kai Luau. Sip on your favorite drink overlooking the bay at golden hour, or beat your friends at Ulumaika until the sun goes down. There's always a good reason to celebrate with Sea Life Park. The all-new Aloha Kai Luau is the best place to take your ohana to escape the daily routine. Treat yourself to their silver or gold seating for a 5-day pass to Sea Life Park. Follow Aloha Kai Luau on Instagram for more information about tickets and free giveaways. The Aloha Kai Luau at Sea Life Park, where there's something for the whole ohana to enjoy.
Okay, so there's two kind of long stories, but they blend into each other.
Yeah.
The first one is really the biggest one. The second one's kind of funny, but the first one was, I guess we'll go three. He Kanaka, right? So I had this song that I had been writing about myself, trying to understand my own name, my own identity, writing about who I am. And so I wrote the first verse in English, talking about my name, Elijah. My name is Elijah Kaʻikena Etuale Scanlan. So trying to figure out, what history there is behind that name, and then figuring out what Kaikena means and going through my journey of Ola Hawaii. And then I had gotten to college already. Somebody, I'm going to drop his name, Kavika Aspili, a good friend of mine. He was going to college with us at Hilo, doing his Hawaiian language thing also. And he had popped into a bar, had been visiting because he had moved on to Oʻahu, to Manoa. And he said, oh, yeah, there's this, cool Instagram competition going on by the Vitos, 808, mahalo. And mahalo to Pena also, Pena Boo. They said, yeah, there's this Instagram competition and they're supporting new local artists and you should try it out. But, the only thing is I already put my entry in, so you're probably going to lose. And it was my birthday. And I was like, yo. And he's like, when does it close? Oh, it's tonight. Tonight's the last night. I'm like, all right. I got to go home now then. So went home. For some reason, I don't know why, but I had a malo on already. Jumped into the room with my friend, Ika Mai, who we were living together at that point. So I went to his room and I said, hey, we got to throw something together real quick, 30 seconds. Let's put it down. We ended up running through and winning that competition to the point where He Kanaka was produced.
Wow. So that was your first song?
That was the first one, yeah. That was first ever released 2016 under the Vitos. And so, mahalos to everybody that supported that, all the fans, all the Instagram. And then after that was kind of stagnant until 2018. And, God bless his soul, Keala Kawa'auho, the lead singer of Southern Rush, another huge character in the Hawaiian language movement, also in breaking the standards and the norm and being able to normalize the Ola Hawaii, and just his legacy in general. He had passed away, and crazy, the manager had called me that morning. I'm going into Pico, and I'm just explaining to this girl who's a cousin of somebody who lives with us, and explaining, oh, yeah, this is Keala Kawa'auho, and, he's the radio personality, and he's this, that. And while we're driving to Pico, I'm hearing that he passed away on the radio from Loeka, right? And playing all of this Southern Rush music. I'm like, yeah, this is all Keala. So I go into Pico, park the car, walking to Pico, and the manager calls me, and he said, hey, we're doing this farewell tour, and we're supposed to do this tour, but now we need somebody to fill in for Keala. Would you like to fill in? Like, what I mean? I just found out. Like, I just parked the car and I'm walking to Pico. I'm like, I got to call you back. So, again, much appreciation to my oldest brother, who's like my father figure still to this day, right? And he gives me all my musical advice. He's like my quote-unquote manager, consultant, whatever. But I called him and he said, what you need to do is you need to, like, do you respect this guy? Do you want to do it? I'm like, yeah, it's an honor. Like, that'd be crazy, and like, but it's kind of over my head. I think it's like way too much. He said, well, what you want to do is you want to release your own music. You got to release more music so that you're still Kaikena and you're not going to be the substitute Keala. You don't want to be the new Keala, right?
Yeah.
You got to be you when you go on that tour. And you can still give your props and your, pay your homage and respects to Keala. And, but at the same time, you'll be you. So, I heard Na'ea, Ka'opua. I put out Hilo Town Rock and a few other tracks. And yeah, I was like, man, that's the vibe. That's the energy. And, called up Pana, who also is a Commitment Schools graduate. I said, hey, let's work. When are you going to be in Hilo? He said, I'm coming in a couple weeks here and there, whatever. I said, yeah, let me just pop in. And big ups to Brother Kaliko too, who also passed away. He let me into the studio. We recorded Smoke All Day and Utu Bang Bang in one day. Just put that thing down. I was like, I just gotta release it ASAP. There's a tour coming up in February, March, and I just need it to be released. And meanwhile, it's 2018, like November. I think that's when October. I think we were recording in October and we released in November on La Ku'oko'a.
Wow.
And from there, history was just made. And we went on that tour. And I've never felt that before. I've sang Hey Kanaka before and we've, been musicians, but to have that kind of energy, people knowing the music, that was, like you said, maybe meteoric or whatever, but I wasn't expecting it. And that's why I still, I don't really look at myself as a celebrity. It's just like, it all just happened so quickly. And we just found ourselves here. And at the same time, we're not really intentional on that end, right? That we need to be famous or that we need to be global, but we just need to tell our story. And from that point, it just went off. So it's like, okay, well, let's just stick to that. And speaking back to Hey Kanaka, that's like the same idea, staying humble. And the reception from the audience was really what told me where to direct my energy and how to move. Because it was the people saying, bro, I love that song. I feel your pain. And like, that's what I'm trying to say. I have these feelings in me. I'm like, this is a song about my name. How does so many people connect with it? So it told me, speak the truth of where we come from here on the islands and what it's really like and what it really feels like. So
yeah, that song is so powerful. One of my favorite concert memories ever is Ola Hilo.
Yep.
Last year. Right after the May Monarch, it was Paula Funga, The Green, and you. Yeah. It was raining. I brought my friend Marky on, the guy that came here and did that like video on the Hawaiian culture.
Right.
I was like, you got so lucky to be coming on this day with this lineup. And then I'm already getting chicken skin. Like I got chicken skin like 4 times when you're just telling that story, especially when you mentioned Anakala Keala. Yeah. So we went there. Green did their thing, Paula did her thing, Green did their thing. Then you came on. It's starting to rain that day, and we're like,
Do we sing Hemele no Kane?
I don't remember.
Maybe.
One of my.
That's how you know it's fun.
I love the moment when we're just like, it's raining, we're gonna dance in the rain. We ain't gonna let it ruin this play.
I mean, you in Hilo.
Yeah, exactly. Hilo Reigns.
Hilo Reigns.
And then you started singing He Kanaka. I think this part he got on video too, it's in his YouTube video, where it was just, everyone's like, Aole, ao he rasta no he Kanaka no he Kanaka no Hawaii. And then like everyone was just singing the lyrics. Screaming, jumping up and down.
In the rain.
Oh, I'm still getting chicken skin. I can barely even like hold this mic right now. But then at one part, you say, normalize a little Hawaii. Normalize a little Hawaii.
Yeah.
Normalize a little. And everyone's just screaming that. And at that moment, I've never felt prouder to be Hawaiian. And like seriously,
that's chicken skin right there. Yeah.
Look at this.
I see you. It's hot in this room.
It was such a magical moment. I love that. And to not only just like music did that, but the lyrics. And the lyrics mean a lot to me. In Olelo Hawaii, in Hawaiian, like, Hemana Koka Olelo, like words have power, language has power. So people to like have people feel that way, just with those words, 3 simple, normalize Olelo Hawaii, 3 simple words. Right. Oh, and it was amazing.
And it's not like a minority feeling. It's like the masses are screaming it.
Yeah.
It's like, and people who are walking on the street are probably like, whoa, did they just scream normalize Olelo Hawaii? You know? But yeah, that's the power and the kind of, the blessing that we have up there as entertainers. And everybody's like, oh, so what does it feel like? What are you thinking about? Like, sometimes I have no idea. Sometimes I can't even remember what I said. But you feel that wave and to have our music, you know, based and rooted in Olelo Hawaii and Hawaiian culture and Hawaiian lifestyle, then to feel that wave, you know, being home also and, you know, opening everything up, Mary Monarch jamming again. Yeah, that was a special day.
And to continue the legacy that Sudden Rush left.
Yeah.
Because it kind of came like, you know, so they, you know, I don't know if they're still jamming without Anakala Kala.
There's music being made by the characters, and there is still a hui being put together, but hard to call it Sudden Rush.
Yeah.
There's, you know, only one
because
of the
what
three.
he did was he was the first, at least that I can remember, that was doing raps in Hawaiian. That has never been done before, and it was good songs. And then so you started continue you and Ika Akamai, and there's Kavika
Aspili.
Is he the one who did the rap during the concert, or somebody
No,
else?
that's a Kaipu Loma Kanio Lono Baker.
He also killed it.
He's on hammer.
He is on hammer and hammered that song.
Ikua no.
It's all of that, yeah. But I know I don't want to keep saying this, but it meant so much to me because as a Kula Kaiapuni kid who grew up in a time where Hawaiian wasn't cool yet, who I was like embarrassed to like speak it at the grocery store with my dad, like to see everybody like praise it and like be happy that this was being done. It was like, yeah, it's one of my top memories ever.
Solid.
So I just want to say mahalo for that.
Yeah, I remember growing up and being the same way, you know, and like going to Olelo Hawaii, Papa Olelo Hawaii, and coming out and listening to like Lil Wayne and Drake or, you know, whoever's popular. I think Justin Bieber was just popping up, and it was like, you know, and then we start to dress like them, and then we start to, you know, want to act like them and live like them. And it's kind of like kind of a revelation I had one day. It was just like, well, how come we don't have anything to sing? You know, how come we don't have anything to say about our people and what we do? You know, besides the one rap group who's trying to chant for us, you know, it's like, how come we don't have more of that? So, yeah, I'm glad it all kind of fell into
but I
place.
think the way that it's being done is that it's like this popular music, these like kind of cool sounds instead of like just on an ukulele. So we grew up singing these songs like growing up, you know, like Hawaiian songs
and whatever,
Yeah, but no, even like just like keiki songs, like
okay.
I don't even like keikioka.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff, and like
Sister
Kanika
Obi.
ni pele, Kanika, like English, some English songs turn Hawaiian, or just Hawaiian songs meant for the schools.
Right.
So it's like, it's not like we jam that in a car with our friends. You know, you don't hear them at concerts. You hear them when you go to a performance for a Hawaiian immersion school, maybe on May Day.
Right.
So like Sudden Rush started, what you guys are doing, it's like, it's making it cool because in the style that you're doing it. I think that's the main thing, is that you're making it so that we can jam these songs in our cars, at our house, at parties, instead of, you know, just like
the day to day.
Yeah,
every
exactly.
day.
Yeah. Just not the classic
Nice.
Navajo songs, which are awesome, but you know,
doesn't feel the same all the time.
It doesn't feel the same, yeah.
Need a little bit of kick drum, a little more.
yeah, exactly. So I think that's like the coolest part about your music.
Mahalo.
So I just want to know, like, before getting into, you know, your career, like fully into your career, who did you try to style your music after? Was it Sudden Rush? Like, were there other influences that you had?
It was definitely a lot of Bob Marley, but it was like groundation and more like freedom fighting style, right? So a lot of people like to hype up his medicinal use, right, and all, or his Rastafarian culture, but just the struggler song, right? Because that's really what reggae music is at the heart of it, right? It's like simple tempos or simple beats, and there's definitely that jazz influence, but it's the strugglers song, right? The oppressed, trying to speak out and talk of the struggle. So, you know, falling in love with that aspect of reggae from Bob Marley. Another, you know, like I would go visit my brother up in California when he moved up there, and I'd fall asleep to Bob Marley vinyls and like, you know, Bob Marley documentaries. But yeah, I mean, so this is what people think is the funniest about me, is that I play reggae music. I, you know, promote Hawaiian music and to put Hawaiian language, but I listen to like heavy hip hop, trap, and like, 90s hip hop, 2000s hip hop is like my jam. That's what you're gonna find in my car every day.
Wow.
So
Top 5 rappers.
I mean, Wayne's up there, Jay-Z, Nas. I'm a huge Kanye fan, man. I'm like
Old school Kanye. New
old school
too?
Kanye, but it's like, okay, so my take on Kanye is that he predicted his fall, and he like anticipated and preached about how he's going to fall.
Like the video you post, I love.
So did he really fall? Is really what I'm
Yeah.
wondering. Like, is this just part of like, an overall assessment of where he's trying to go? And like, maybe it's too much for me to understand. I mean, of course, it's some sensitive things in there, but I mean, Kanye's Kanye. You can't take that away.
Yeah, no,
I love
mean,
Kanye.
The
old
old
Kanye.
stuff. I mean, this the stuff he's saying, and if you separate that from the music, from the lyric, he's a genius in that sense. To my,
We want to go real deep.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody's up on this Hitler comment, right? And like, of course, we highlight all the horrible things that Hitler did, but like, there's the 36 Olympics or whatever, the Hitler's Olympics, right?
Okay.
But we look back at it, and that's where like we're carrying on traditions from Hitler that we don't know. So like, and he was overall a very inventive guy, and like he's horrible. He's all on drugs too, and he's killing millions and millions, and nobody wants that. But I think overall, what I'm trying to say is that with Kanye's, words and all his crazy rants, like there's in a sense of knowing his old music, it's like I know what he would have tried to say. Of course, it's all over the place, and his look is all crazy. So, it's hard for anybody to really grasp and digest what he's saying. But yeah, I mean, he was wrong, right? There are some things that Hitler did that are, still carried on to this day that we all do that we don't know. Like having the pride of your nation in the Olympics is like a huge thing, which
I didn't know that.
originally Olympics was everybody's in naked or in white robes, right? And then everybody's just competing to see who's who. But Hitler was like, welcome to my country. I'm going to be a host. And this is, you got to look it up. There's a bunch of history and like, even inventions that we use from Hitler like that we don't know.
Wow. How did you learn about that? Just,
A lot of conspiracy. No. Just being open and listening and researching in different avenues. Of course, the internet's got a bunch of fun goodies, but just understanding history, because there's a lot of things changing World War II time also in Hawaii, right? And like a bunch of political things happening in Hawaii that we overlooked because it was happening during that other global event. And so some research into Hawaiian history and some research just into like, where does this come from? Where do all these,
yeah. So when you're writing
documentaries too.
Yeah, documentaries are good. So when you're writing your lyrics, are you ever hesitant to put something out because you think it might be too controversial or people won't take this in the right way?
Not that it's going to be too controversial, but definitely that it's not going to be taken in the right way. So like when I'm writing, I try to have it be like multi-generational, like so drawing on values from history, but also projecting good values into the future. So like, yeah, I'm always self-conscious of like any word I say could be my doom, right? Anything, anyone.
Especially with cancel culture. these
Right,
days.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, am I too powerfully strong on the Hawaiian side where now I'm a racist? Like, anything like that. So, yeah, just trying to pick and select word for word. Also, I'm a linguist, right? So I'm studying language and sounds and, onomatopoeias and all those things. So just making sure that my message is gonna really hit the way I need it to hit and not have it be skewed and be like, oh, is that really what he meant? Because when he said, this in line 5, he was down talking all my people about. So yeah, just really self-conscious and like subconscious about like, oh, is this the right way to phrase it? Is this how to say it? But never am I allowed to say this. That I think we need to get past that because there is too much of that to the point where we only make soft music now, right? We only make that I love you music and I miss you and oh, my heart's broken. And but what happened to the, like, hey, how come I'm not able to go to the store and buy crack seed anymore
Real
from the
life
auntie,
problems
like
beyond
I got
love.
struggles. How come the
Yeah.
bus costs more than I need, all of those things. So
Is that on the new album or something about the bus?
maybe, how come I'm not allowed to wear barefoot into my restaurant,
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, but I never did get scared of what I'm allowed to say, but I definitely every day I have that like anxiety of like, oh, are they gonna get it? Are they gonna know what I'm saying? And
I think we got the Utu Bang Bang one.
you never know, you know. I don't even know if I understand what it means, but
Hey, just don't question it. Just go with it.
so if you really want to know, we'll give some bombs on here.
Yeah. Drop it here on exclusively on the Hawaiiverse
Exclusive.
podcast.
So everybody thinks I created this word, or at least thinks that I popularized this word. The Utus or the Utu or the Utu Bang. But really, I kind of thiefed it, and I want to give my props to Pirates of Liloa, to Irie JK. So if you listen to the, I think it's Licky is the name of the song, but he says he's all tired or whatever from the Utu Bang, Irie JK. So it's like, it's straight from that, and we was listening to that in college. And so I didn't create it. I don't think I was the first to put it out on record. I mean, I know I wasn't, but we carried that on in a, just like a freestyle circle. Like you said, we all have a ukulele, and we, play the same old Hawaiian songs we play, but then, we're having a good time. So we said, yeah, let's just play some chords and let's just pretend and freestyle and whatever. Then came up the Utu Bang, and, everybody was having a good time. And I came back the next day and I said, hey, that's a good song. Like, that's a real one, bro. We should try and make it. He's like, yeah. So, we put it off for a good 3-4 more years. And then we wrote the song, but never recorded it for another 4 or 5 more years. And yeah.
Oh, it was a long process.
Yeah, it just got sat on.
That was one long Utu Bang Bang then.
Right. I mean, I think that one, maybe there was a little hesitation, like, oh.
Is it too risque?
Too risque. And really, like, my main intention is to not draw off the kids or the youth that are listening to the music, to be like, he's just a clown, you know what I mean? And it happens, I get parents or whoever, even kids, that run up to me like, hey, Utu Bang. I'm like, we put out a lot of other stuff too, we do it a lot, Ali just hits, cliche, talk to your loved ones. But yeah, it's it's that vibe, but I still gotta remember, like, our job is to entertain.
Yeah, and it's I don't know if you said it or I just thought it, or because I know the Hawaiian culture, it's playful. The Hawaiian language is playful. Hula.
Ho'olu kalahui.
Yeah, Ho'olu kalahui. One of my friends had an idea to do like a Tinder, but for like Hawaiian.
Ola Hawaii only?
No, it's like a Ho'olu lahui app.
Oh.
So basically to repopulate Hawaiian, like blood kind. It's like
I like this.
You have to have blood, like Hawaiian blood, to be on this app, so you can ho'olu lahui.
See, so that's what I'm saying. Like, is that racist? Because I agree with it, but I don't want to be racist. I'm just trying to say my people should have a little bit of advantage. A little bit.
But yeah, if somebody wants to develop that app for other people,
count me in.
Yeah,
I'll help you any way I can.
You do that theme song,
right? But yeah, so. Just, a little bit hesitation of where the trajectory is going to go, right? But yeah, we like to put in the kauna. We have, on this album, we have an album coming up. No release date yet, but a lot of fun kauna. One of them is Spoon Meat, talking about the Niu Hau Hau, which is like literally a song that our kupunas used to sing about the Niu Hau Hau and na vai oe pakele aku and moni pu'u ka moni, ma'u ka pu'u ke moni.
Yeah.
That the throat is all moist when you swallow this spoon meat down. Like that's our kupunas talking. So we're not too far off, right?
Yeah, and it's a lot of like you say, kind of this hidden meaning, and like a lot of Hawaiian is like they don't tell you direct. Like you have to kind of like. They use metaphors and all these other like cool play on words.
I thought I was being real sly with it, but they said when I bust out my pohaku wasn't sly. They said that's not kauna.
I love that. It's like first you gotta know what pohaku means.
Right. That's a little bit of research.
Yeah, and then you, so you can take it two ways. It's a double meaning. It's like you're just pounding poi. Right. Or doing
ho'olu lahui.
Yeah.
Or pa'i ai.
Yeah, but I mean even in your was it smoke all day? You're saying smoke meat. It's like there's a lot of play on words in that song, and I love that.
Nice.
Yeah. No, I'm a big fan of all of that. That like
I was told that it couldn't get played on the radio. I was a radio station that turned me down because they said there was cuss words in there.
Really?
I said, you gotta be kidding me. The whole idea is to preach to the children, but
Yeah.
sorry, it's on the radio now.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. But I love that because I love like nanes.
Right.
You know, just like these little Hawaiian puzzles where you have to like you say something here.
Listen closely. Listen
yeah,
real
and you have to
hard.
try to figure it out what they're actually talking about.
Right.
You know, like ku'u something leva I kalani, or like some ku'u punavai leva I kalani, something like that. It's like my yeah. So I don't know if people could want to try to figure that out, but I started to write some too just for fun, and it's like it's so fun.
That's another one. Is I'm all about creating, no disrespect to Mary Kavena Pukui, but another Olelo no Eau book, like today's version, because there's also some in that book that aren't listed in that book. If you know what I mean? Like in the preface or whatever, in the beginning of the book, she has a couple of Olelo no Eau, but they're not numbered.
Yeah.
Like they have, then the next one, they have another Olelo no Eau, and then they say, oh, C1952. Like, this is where we got this Olelo no Eau.
Yeah,
But there's also some that she didn't list. I'm like, wait a minute. So there are more. There are more, and we can still keep making them. Our language is still alive.
Yeah. And we're creating new words as we speak. There's a lot of words that I hear now that I've never heard of growing up. But I think it'll be cool to do a book of idioms.
Yep.
Because we don't really have idioms, or at least, I mean, just
we don't
colloquial
use
speech.
them. Yeah, we don't use them today, for sure.
Yeah, like, what is it? Kau kalai kalolo.
Kaukalai kalolo.
Yeah, it's like when the sun is over your brain, it's like that's 12 o'clock.
I was told, and I don't know if this is true, but that's when you have the most mana, because your aka, your shadow, is full of mana, and so it's like entering into your body, so it's not like extended out and like confused with other aka. And then also, like, some say akamai, but that might be too far.
I like that.
That might be stretching it, but yeah, aka.
No, that's a kauna right there.
Where you become smart because you're aka, but
yeah. So
no, I don't have no proof for that.
well, it's all up to interpretation.
Yeah,
You know,
Makavalu.
Yes, exactly. We can all interpret something totally different, and that's the beauty of the language, and that's the beauty of language.
And a living language.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's super cool. I think in the future, maybe when I have some time, I'll try to work on some like book of idioms or some nanes. I think that'd be really cool. Just give it to the
I'm buying it. Let me know.
Or just give it to the schools.
Kalala is all about it. He'll be there.
I gotta talk with Malu. I gotta talk with Malu. But you know, like growing up, we never had like books in Hawaiian. We had the little labels over the English words.
Right. Was that the scanner
the
thing?
Stuff you scan,
the label maker? Yeah.
So now they have Hawaiian language books, and like to keep like adding like more, I don't know, like advanced stuff, like idioms and like, you know, puzzles. I think that'd be really cool.
Okay, so in my master's class, and I really wanted to publish my book, but it didn't make it. Somehow I got lost somewhere. But my whole idea too was beginning Olelo Hawaii books, like elementary level for adults. So like adult humor, but in like very basic form. You know what I mean? Like kino o, kino a type things. Like you can get real funny with it. Yeah. And then just like all of that kauna, like, you know, talking about, you know, the birds and the flowers and, you know, sipping on the dew and all of that stuff, but in very basic structure and for adults. If anybody wants to jump on that with me, let me know. Hit me up.
You know, I
collab.
think it might just be ahead of its time. I think we're still trying to catch up to the part.
That's what it was.
And I think before we have that, it has to be normalized. You know,
well, like that's what I think. Like, you know, how are we gonna? Of course, we got to get the doctorate so we can have the teachers who can educate the keiki, but also in the household, right? To me, is like you got to get that ake, that ʻāina to want to hold that knowledge. So if we have those resources for adults, right, like who are just getting into it, they feel super shame about like, oh, I don't know about all this stuff and I don't get it, like it's so hard and so tough. Like, what if we just create something more like playful for them that they can just like enjoy, you know, and laugh about and giggle with their friends and whatever, so that it's not so intimidating. Like, here's the object and the subject and the predicate and the, you know, verb marker.
I mean, because most of the times we don't learn that in English.
Right.
So it's like confusing when you have to learn it in Hawaiian.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
it's intimidating.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So right before we get into Instagram question, I just want to ask you about this one line you said. I think it was in Kanaka in the beginning. Something like, if the Hawaiians aren't in Hawaii, then how can we be Hawaiian?
Brains.
Brains.
Brains
Yeah, that's what it
music
was.
video.
I was just listening to the music video before this. That's what it was.
Stoked.
Yes.
That's a heavy one.
Also a good song. So if Hawaiians aren't in Hawaii, then how can we be Hawaiian? My question before that is, so what does it mean to be Hawaiian?
Ooh.
What is a Hawaiian?
The forever question.
Yeah.
I think the quote was, where can we be Hawaiian? Where will Hawaiians be Hawaiian?
Yeah.
What does it mean to be Hawaiian? So as a lecturer of Hawaiian ethnobotany, I used to tell my students that the first ever Hawaiians had landed in Hawaii, and they had very minimal resources, right? So they had their canoe plants, so their coconuts and their bananas, their ulu, their kalo, their sweet potatoes, and so on and so on. Because I was teaching Hawaiian plants, right? And that relationship to the land and to the plants is what identifies you as a Hawaiian, because you're now in a new land with new resources, new terrains, right? New territories, and you have to adapt to that style of lifestyle. Kauikeauli, which I don't know, BJ got a lot of heat for saying, like, if you live in Hawaii, then you're Hawaiian. If you're born in Hawaii.
Yeah, Hawaiian by blood, Hawaiian by heart, that stuff.
Kauikeauli said that we are not a racist nation. Anybody from any country who lands on our soil is instantly emancipated. And there's a difference. He wanted to ensure that it was clear that there's a difference between Hawaiians and Kanaka Maoli, but we are not a racist nation. So we have Hawaiians who are citizens of Hawaii, citizens under the government of Hawaii, right? The Hawaiian government. And then we have Kanaka Maoli. So Kanaka Maoli is to have blood ties and lineal descendants of these places, from these chiefs and these deities who are sourced from these places and these places only. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah.
I kind of walked around it, but
No, I think
there's different definitions to it.
Yeah.
And I think the first Hawaiians that were able to land here and utilize what's here, there's definitely, that mark on it. Because we also hear people saying, oh, I know people who aren't even from here who are more Hawaiian than you, and you have Hawaiian blood. So there's that note. There's like, yeah, all you want to do is gamble and, go to the clubs or whatever you do, and you have no clue of who you are and where you come from, when somebody who just showed up here is really intent on learning these things, really intent on pushing these things forward and carrying out. Then you also have Kauikeauli, who states it as a political statement that Hawaiian is a subject of the Hawaiian government, of the Hawaiian kingdom. And then you have, just what it means today to be Hawaiian. It's tough and it's rough, and it's hard to not exclude anybody, or hard to, be not over inclusive. But I think it's somewhere around those definitions.
Yeah, I've heard of I think maybe just reading comments, I've read that Kanaka Maoli, or that's how they categorize it, whereas Hawaiian is like citizenship to here. Because at one point it was, because now we say it's blood quantum, right?
Right.
If you have Hawaiian blood, you're Hawaiian. But I also heard that they say Kanaka Maoli is different than Hawaiian.
Right.
I mean, because you can be Hawaiian and be Kanaka Maoli, but you can't. And you can be Kanaka Maoli and be Hawaiian.
But just because you're Hawaiian, it doesn't make you Kanaka Maoli.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think that's something that has been lost. Just because we're in this society where we identify as a certain thing.
Right. And then there's also like the society of like, oh, we're just one people. And like, yeah, but our place is different than your place, and our way of growing up was different than the way you grew up. And, we react differently to different weather systems, and, we eat different foods. And, but overall, yeah, getting off of that track of, what it means to be Kanaka Maoli and what it means to be Hawaiian is where I think we got to drop back to, so that there's more clarification. And also touching on the blood quantum, right? Like, we know now that that's a tactic, a strategy to erase a people, right? To have the people turn on themselves and say, you're not Hawaiian enough, right? How much Hawaiian are you? What does it mean to be Hawaiian? Because you're only 2% Hawaiian, or, whatever it is. That's where we start cutting people out and sectioning them out of the pie until we don't have a pie. So that's why I also like to say, it's somewhere in between those lines, because how do we say, oh, I'm Hawaiian, but I'm this much Hawaiian, I have this much percent, but then also say, oh, you're not Hawaiian because, it has to be strictly blood. Like, I think there's somewhere in between where you can have citizenship and show that you support this place as everybody's home, but you also have respect for the history and the original peoples that come from this place. Aboriginal, some would say.
Yeah, I love that. I think you put that perfectly. And I want to talk so much more about this, but let's get into Instagram questions real quick. All right, so power shishi break. We're reloaded. We're good.
Reloaded, good to go.
All right,
locked in, loaded.
Okay, his first question comes from Finn_Catcher. He wants to know, what's your favorite thing to smoke? I think it's kind of like a joke question.
I would say pork jowls.
What's
Face bacon. That's actually it's like actually my favorite thing to smoke. It's the cheek area. So it's not the inside cheek that's on the jaw. It's like, that's real dark meat, but it's outside. There's like a big old chunk of fat and then a slim layer of meat. So it's just like bacon on the belly, because it's like all interwoven, mostly fat. But on the cheek, it's more solid, a little more like crunch to it, you almost might say.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Hard fats.
And it doesn't matter what kind of pig. It's just that part.
Yeah,
of the
that's
pig.
the part. Yeah, it's
okay.
real fatty, real. It's like a butcher's cut.
Okay,
You gotta know the guy.
Yeah, and you hunt. You hunt.
I'm not a hunter. I'm a farmer.
You farm
I was a pig farmer for 6 years, and then ended up being the part-time butcher and helping them process the meats after it was slaughtered. So, yeah. So we were getting rid of heads for a while, and it was like, yo, I'm gonna take all of the heads, and I started making nice bacons out of them.
Right on.
Yeah, that's my fave.
What do you have, like a traeger? You go like straight emu, old school style?
Tin roof, my guy. Yeah, tin roof smoker. That's the one.
Oh, okay.
Just, tin roof box.
Right on. Easy kind.
Easy, nothing special. But Traeger, if you want a link, let me know.
You're looking for a sponsorship?
Hey, I'm free. I'm open.
They should have sponsored you after that song.
I have a song you might like.
Yeah. Listen to it. That would be. I could see that as like, if they opened up like a local like store.
The thing is that Justin Lee, brother of Brandon Lee, is already holding the slot. Boy. Yeah, Big Island boy, Big Owl boy 24, I think. Yeah, he's already holding the Traeger slot. They've got a big old candidate, brand ambassador already in him. So I get it. And Yeti too. He's got all the good ones.
Yeah,
man.
Him and Kimmy, they just have a
they
just got a
Kimmy
monopoly
swimming.
on everybody.
Well, take me swimming. I float.
Yeah.
I hold the buoy.
I beat a buoy.
Yeah, shark bait all day.
Shark bait. Okay. Cass Kahelani wants to know best advice for foreigners when they want to transplant here. And there's like one of those like emojis, like the face. Just
Is it like the don't do it emoji?
I think so. It's like the straight line over the lips and then kind of like that emoji. I don't know if I'm making it.
So there's two different ways to answer it. I think if they've already bought their house, they're already here, they're already in, and I think the best thing to do is to assimilate them into the culture and to let them know the history. A lot of more times than not, they want to know what happened and why, and they have some understanding of they definitely know what's right and wrong, but like they have an understanding of history, right? And like how this is just an ongoing step, of more people moving here, more prices being raised. It's just another step to add on to the oppression and the hurt from history. And so explaining that, there's a lot of people who are like, wow, that's really intense. What I think is the rough part is that we don't always have the information, or that our people aren't educated enough to tell them about all the pain and struggle that our people have gone through here in Hawaii. But what the other part is the guys who have not moved here yet and are thinking about moving here, then you just tell them don't do it. Just don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Yeah, it's not worth it. It's not what you think it is.
Yeah. I think the only thing I would add to that is if you're not coming here and adding any value to this community,
right,
there's no point of coming. If you're just gonna come here and enjoy all these rich resources and that's all, just enjoy. That's not what we're
Right,
about.
like what do you do, right?
Yeah,
Well, what
it's
skills
like,
you got?
We get it. It's beautiful. It's nice. We
Right.
enjoy our place, but at some point we're making a contribution to this community. I think that's the most important thing.
Because the other thing to think about is that like we on a boat. We all on the same boat. So
Yeah.
like, what do you do on the boat?
Yeah.
You don't do nothing? I don't know about you, bro. I don't know how long
Yeah.
you're gonna last here. And a lot of people get chewed up and they leave, which is what it is. But the harsh part is, knowing that our people have to leave. Like our family doesn't get to stay because we're being priced out by somebody who can work from home, who just has, this opportunity and all this funds that were, maybe inherited or whatever it is. Yeah, it's a rough one.
That's the toughest part. And going back to, where can we be Hawaiian if it's not here?
Right.
That's like, we can't speak Hawaiian anywhere but here unless, you have a small Hawaiian community. Maybe just your family speaks Hawaiian, FaceTime.
And like, why do you want to come to Hawaii? Oh, because of the Hawaiian culture and the aloha spirit. Like, hey, well, we're a minority now. Like it's only a very small sliver.
Mm-hmm. Do you think we'll ever, okay, by blood, we won't ever be the majority. But do you think Hawaiian language will get to a point where it's like actually the official language? Where now it's like more of a secondary language. Do you think it will ever get to the point where it's like closer to English? I don't think it will get to that level. But
I think
what
it
is the
can.
future, you think?
I don't think that under American governance that it will ever become as popular as we hope it to be. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like a hint to my answer. But I think, it's already becoming a lot more normalized. And we have kids. My kids, they only speak Hawaiian. They know English and they have family that don't speak a lick of Hawaiian, so they speak English to them. But in our household, that's their first language. And so that already to me is a step, right? That like, it's being normalized. Everything that we do is all going to be in Hawaiian. People see us walking around. They're like, wow, that's crazy. You guys speak Hawaiian. Like, trust me, it's a thing. Mm-hmm. Like, there's more of us. There's plenty of us. Yeah. So I think, it starts in us, of course. But, I think maybe I'm just real hopeful that the next generation is going to catch it, or that, real ambitious about my efforts being put in. But, I think through independent governance or something a little more separated from America, we can kind of really drive in what makes here more purposeful, right? What makes here and this place so unique, and why it's not the same as that giant, huge country over there, right? Like, it's just, we're just this little spot in the ocean, so we can't be run the same way. And what I also tell people is that the funnest part about all this history is that all of our pieces are still in play. Like, as Hawaiian people, as Hawaiian history, we have documentation played by the global rules, that are still in play. Like, even our trust, right? The Kamehameha Schools Trust. It's corrupted by the people who might be running it at a certain time or, or era. But overall, that's a will that was set into place by a royalty, by royal funds, by royal, inheritance. And so that's still in play, like, you can't just abolish the will and the trust. So that's fun. Maybe I went off about transplants, but
it's what
little off subject.
Yeah, no, that's what it's for, is to express yourself and to share opinions. That's, I'm sure people on both sides of the spectrum can relate, or, they're just like, they feel a certain way, whether you feel happy that he said the same thing as you, or upset that he said what you didn't want to hear. It's part of the conversation that we need to have, and that's what it is. Yeah,
conversation needs to be had. That's all it is.
Yep. And maybe conversation in Aloha Hawaii, which leads to my next question, which we kind of just already talked about. Mikele Halelu 33. My dad wants to know, do you only speak Hawaiian with your kids?
Facts.
Yeah.
All day. O ka olelo Hawaii, wale no ka olelo makahale. Olelo pu na keiki, nuku na keiki ya maua o ka mama. O ka olelo Hawaii. Pono e olelo Hawaii. Mai olelo pelekania. Woki kena.
Don't speak English.
Yeah. Like, and we drilled it into her. So, we thankful that she brings it back to us. And Yeah, she drills us like, this is a Hawaiian language household.
Wow.
This is a Hawaiian language family. We speak Hawaiian. Like, you right. But she also, you know, she speaks English with all her friends and family. And so that's the other thing is like, people are afraid, you know, of like what Hawaiian language will do to our people. Like they are afraid that, you know, we'll be dumber because we speak Hawaiian, or that we will get left behind with English. But I think, you know, it's already been shown that bilingual kids, multilingual kids are way more intelligent, and they have way more, you know, adaptability to situations. And yeah, we didn't teach my daughter English, but she'll rap with you in English all day. Like she's real nice with it.
Well, I mean, this example, Hawaiian is my first language. My dad only speaks Hawaiian to us to this day. All our messages are even in Hawaiian, and I host an English podcast. And we do. So far, everybody understands what I say.
Yeah.
But I can also Aloha Hawaii, if I want. I think one day to have a whole podcast in Aloha Hawaii like how Malu does would be pretty cool. And just like a part of it's laziness. Just I don't want to do hour half of subtitles.
Yeah, just you can
hire somebody.
New name, right? New name, and then just have different standards. Maybe it's only a 10-minute podcast, you know?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Keep Hawaiiverse as Hawaiiverse.
Hawaiiverse podcast, Olelo Hawaii edition.
And then you have like the Olaverse.
Olelo-verse, I like that. I'm gonna think about that into this year.
Yeah, just short ones.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Little like snippets.
Because there's a few Ola Hawaii podcasts. I don't have their names, but one.
I know there's at least two. There's
Bruce.
Ka'alala.
What's Bruce's one? He has one.
I've seen one on Apple Podcasts.
Yes.
I just stumbled upon it. I was like, oh, this is
Look
super
for
cool.
him. There's
I
more
don't know
than
if it's
one.
part of OEV TV or is that the one?
OEV TV's probably got one too.
Yeah. Okay.
They got a bunch of Olelo, you know, broadcasting things.
Yeah, but that's cool. I think one of the trickiest things being a speaker of Olelo Hawaii is trying to know when to Olelo Hawaii with people. When English is like when, or people that you already speak English with. Like for example, we both speak Hawaiian, but we're speaking English. So at what point do we have to shift to Hawaiian, and then at what point do we shift to English? Right.
No, we go through that even as like classmates at Kakaula, but you know, we try to, you know, of course we say normalize them on Hawaii. But yeah, what's palatable, right? Like there's certain levels of comedy that you don't get in Hawaiian, and there's certain levels of Hawaiian comedy that you don't get in English, right? Same with any way of expressing yourself, whether it be in frustration, right? Because you know that too. Like maybe your dad only speaks to you in Hawaiian, but when you get mad, maybe he let out a couple of English words, right? That's when you're like,
I think he might be the exception because he only speaks Hawaiian.
Nice.
It's weird hearing him speak English to other people. He might be the exception, but I know exactly what you mean.
There's times where you lose it and you come back to, you know, what you were raised in, which is English, right?
Yeah.
And you say some harsh words in another language because it feels different. But I even it's weird teaching my daughter this too. Like you can speak to other people in Hawaiian even if they don't speak Hawaiian. Like
that's what my dad does.
Right.
Oh my God. So many times you're just speaking to people Hawaiian and they have no idea what he's saying, but he keeps doing it. It's
spark the conversation, or even like, you know, use small words that they can understand, you know, and like, because she'll go straight to hi. You can tell her aloha, you know.
Exactly. With small stuff like that small is what stuff. I was talking about in the beginning. Is like instead of saying hi, to say aloha, say mahalo.
Little things.
The simplest things like that.
Because like even same thing. Like it's not your fault that you don't know, but it is your fault if you're gonna say hi over aloha. Like that's your choice. You know what I mean? You have the control. So it's always possible to have it more normalized and to have it more accepted and more commonly spoken in every aspect. I think still get a chance.
Yeah. And I think it comes down to just how we express ourselves.
Right.
Sometimes it's just easier to express ourselves in English or Hawaiian. It just depends who you're with.
And what I think too is that like there's levels to Hawaiian too, and sometimes we get intimidated of like whoever else is around us. And like, I don't want to say something wrong because he's gonna know, or like
Yeah, he
he's
gets
gonna
subconscious.
correct me, or
Yeah.
maybe I'm being too pressured onto that person. Maybe I'm speaking too fast for them, and I didn't anticipate that they just got into Ola Hawaiian.
Yeah.
All that. We beat ourselves up too much. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think we overthink it. Maybe.
Right,
Yeah.
and what I tell everybody too is like going into the degree, right, of Ola Hawaii. So why are you gonna do that? And I had kind of suggested to Ika'aka, because he was a band major. He was a music major. He's like, no, I play music. I'm a musician. That's what I do. I was like, but imagine this. You graduate with a music degree, and now you got to compete with all the musicians around the whole world. Like, they're all in your field, and they all have this baseline level. And then you got to get masters and then whatever. And you're still competing against all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I said, Hawaiian, we're like the world leading experts, and you're never going to find a better place to find an expert in Hawaiian culture and Hawaiian history,
Facts.
which is so rich. Like instantly you get a bachelor, you are like worldly Hawaiian language expert.
You're in the top 1% already.
Right, already, like instantly the fact that you graduated, like boom. So yeah, I think, there's way more room to grow, but what was I saying? Something about levels.
Yeah.
Being intimidating and beating ourselves up. But
that's one thing that stops people from practicing Ola Hawaii or learning, because they don't want to sound like a baby speaking, When you're learning a new language, you basically sound like a little kid speaking a new language. I mean, that's just how it is. That's how you learn any language.
That's why they call it elementary level or whatever.
You just have to get to that. You have to. When I learned Spanish or Malagasy, that's how it is. You're going to sound terrible at first.
Yeah, it's part of the learning curve, right?
Yes, it's part of the experience. Embrace it.
Right.
Yeah, just make jokes. Laugh at yourself.
Yeah, and start with the fun stuff.
Yeah. All right, next question comes from Jarrett Kipapa. He wants to know, do you have any music coming out in 2023?
2023, yes. We still have not released the These Guys album. So we went to San Diego, and it was like right as Hurley was changing ownership, and they had a deal with Sig Zane. And they also were like parented by Nike at the time. And so, yeah, we went in, and it was like the last chance we had to record in their studio. They had a huge drum room. It was like bigger than this room. There was an audience there. We played a live scene. It was pretty cool. And recorded everything in San Diego at their studio. And we still have all that footage and all that. All those takes, all that good music that we haven't released. And then we also have a documentary coming out, potentially.
Is Jeremy working on that?
It's actually Jeremy's project.
Okay.
He's the one that proposed it to us.
Yeah, he mentioned that to me a bunch of times.
So we're gonna drop the album, and then we're gonna do a little album tour, and I think release the documentary somewhere in between that.
Awesome. And then where release it, just like on YouTube or like an actual streaming platform like Netflix or like.
That's Jeremy. We gotta figure out what Jeremy's plan is with his project, but I don't know. We'll get some hard copies, maybe. Go back to VHS. I don't know.
VHS. People listening to this who were born in 2000, after 2000, Google what a VHS is.
Big blocks, big black things.
Did you ever buy VHS? I used to buy the Dragon Ball Z VHS.
Oh yeah. In the white case.
No. Those are just I know which one
you're talking about. You know what I mean? There's extra special.
Yeah, those are cool. But the Dragon Ball Z ones were cool because you would buy certain episodes, and then you turn them around, and they would make a picture. They would combine to make a picture.
Oh, yeah, on the sides.
Yeah,
on the
sides,
spines of it.
Yeah, the spines.
Even the books.
Yeah.
Even the old school, the Dragon Ball books. Yeah, that's how.
That's what I love. That was my favorite memory of VHS.
We were still going to Blockbuster.
Yeah. I know. I told my little brother because we watched movies. We're remember going to Wiki Video? That's
Big Island.
White, or
But you get the mom and pops.
Yeah, the little mom and pop shop. But then there's Blockbuster. I think they closed down over 10 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, plenty.
Yeah, but it's crazy that we don't have that anymore. I remember the
VHS
time going to these places and renting video games.
Yeah, you had a video game and trying to beat them before you give them back. Yeah.
That was old school.
Even and then if you were real good, you would go to GameStop and then just return it.
Oh,
that's the evolution, the next era. I don't need this game. It was no good. And it was oh, what? Like, just return it. He's like,
So
you want
I-
to sell it to us? No, I want to return it.
I used to play video games a lot growing up. So I was in
Same.
sports and video games. So I had PlayStation. I saved up to buy a PlayStation 3, and I would play it all the time. I had this Final Fantasy game. I don't know if you ever played Final Fantasy. One of my favorite RPGs.
No, but Kingdom Hearts all day.
Kingdom Hearts is one of the greatest ever.
Cried on it.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts has some of the Final Fantasy
Right.
characters.
Yeah.
I love Kingdom Hearts. So much. The animation is so good on those cutscenes.
All of it, bro.
Yeah.
The suspense, the whole story,
Sora, Kyrie,
everything.
Riku, everybody. But
Facts.
and actually, I actually learned a lot of English from playing video games because they have subtitles.
Right.
So that's how I got really good at just reading, knowing random words. Like I knew like Terra was part of the earth because that's like a move that you do. But anyways, I played Final Fantasy so long. I think it's Final Fantasy like X2 or whatever, and it burned. It literally burned into my PlayStation.
Oh, it melted.
It melted. It melted in it. I had no idea what was going on, and then I guess
You was on fire.
My cousin,
That's what it
my cousin like opened it up, and he said it was melted inside.
That's why I'm like, what happened? I don't know. It just stopped working.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Did you open it? Like, I tried, man. It won't open.
Yeah, that was crazy. And then I haven't had a system since then. That was like 2010, 2009 maybe.
Yeah, I think my last system might have been like the 360.
Yeah.
Xbox 360.
Yeah, I would never had Xbox, but I always play on my friends.
And then it moved to like the PlayStation 4 or 5, all
Yeah.
that. I
I
was
think it's
gone
PS5
already.
now. I know, yeah, it's
It's
crazy.
gone. But I did see that Switch thing. The
Switches
Switch
are
thing is
fun.
kind of cool.
Yeah, I like Super Smash
It's
Bros.
convenient.
Yeah,
It's
you
like
just bring it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's smart.
Yeah. Super Smash Bros. Is one of my all-time favorites. I don't know if you ever played that.
I would smash.
Yeah.
Just
I love smashing my bros.
Do not.
Yeah. It's me and my bros just smashing.
4 of us.
Yeah. All right. Next question comes from gabe.kama. How to start a farm/homestead?
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, use what you got, right? Even if you're in an apartment, you can still grow food. How to start a big scale farm? Yeah, it depends on what you want to call it. How you want to scale it. Backyard gardening to me is the most important because everybody's got that opportunity already, right? And like whatever size yard you got, as long as you're putting some kind of sustenance into your house and you're getting in touch with that cycle, it's critical. I kind of just jumped on board. So I don't know, you have that interest, right? And then from there you find people who own farms or who have farms, and then you help them out, you learn more, you get that experience. And so what just happened to me, we are now in the process of moving into a Department of Agricultural lease lot. So everybody's always asking me like, oh, how do you have so much land and how do you get so much ʻāina? To be honest, I don't own anything. Mm-hmm. Like I don't own 1 square inch of none of it, but I work a lot of different ʻāina, all of them being like 20-acre lots or so. And with that, Department of Ag has approved me to be a bona fide farmer where I can work the Department of Ag lots and lease it out 10 acres with a house and a barn. And, I just got to prove that I'm a farmer. As long as you show 2 years of income as a farmer, then you're a bona fide farmer. And so, yeah, the thing is already loaded with lychee trees and all kinds of 100 different citruses or whatever, avocados and all of it. I worked 6 years under Brandon Lee, and he did a mahi'ai matchup. So it's like Kamehameha Schools gave out an opportunity for business proposals, for agricultural business proposals. He got second place, which was granted him a 20-acre lot lease for X amount of years and X amount of dollars down payment. I think it was like 15 to 20K. So he bought 6 piglets and made a couple fence lines and started that way. But yeah, there's always endless ways to get started on a bigger scale, right? And that's more business than farming itself, because then you're talking about profitability and scalable size and what you're going to get on your returns and how long that's going to take. But if you're just talking about how do I feed myself, how do I get to start farming, you just got to have the interest, put it in, and keep to it. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I think if you have interest in anything, nothing's gonna stop you from learning,
create the
right?
passion.
Yeah, create the passion. Maybe just hang out, like you said, out around different farms, around people that have similar interests, and then pick their brains.
So I was hanging out with Naeha and Brett for all of their, anniversaries of Ola Brew, and from there, they also came over to do a tasting with Napua Restaurant. Brandon does Tuesday tasting. He had to step out, so I subbed in and tasted all their beers and was loving it. And then off the side, they said, "Hey, we're about to start a farm in Hilo, and would like to know if you want to come manage it, if you want to come hang out and cut grass and oversight the whole long term." I was like, "Well, yeah, I really do. It's really close to home, and yeah, it sounds like a fun project. A lot of passion, a lot of potential and future endeavor in the project. So yeah, really exciting."
And let's, while we're at it, let's talk about what you do here at Ola Brew, with Ola Brew.
Well, for one, I consume. That's first.
They needed somebody for that.
First and foremost. I mean, that's where it started. I was always consuming their products at gigs, or and then
you gotta get paid for consuming this.
I do now. At first it was just like, "Hey, click the camera, like record me. I got something for you," and I'd sip it and I'll talk about it. I'd just be all up in it. Now it's like, I actually am invested in the company and they are investing in me, vice versa. So super exciting. We're starting a new project. You got to go research Ola Brew to really understand what it is, but breaking ground, first farm of its kind, utilizing Hawaiian plants to create a Hawaiian product that we can, stamp with Hawaiian history. So.
And this product is to be distributed worldwide?
Yeah, so it's to hit the global market.
Wow.
It's definitely a hard liquor. It's called okole, but to get
into,
know
what that is, that's good.
It's good stuff. And it's from Hawaii, and it's it's basically just the extension of what Ola Brew has already started, and it's going to be building on. So it's based off of local flavors, local agriculture, local farmers, creating a local product using local Hawaiian plants, the ki, the la'i. We're going to have something that we can ship globally rather than, these are good. We love them, but there's a lot of water in it, a lot of weight, a lot of, shipping doesn't really work out as well, but they're ono.
So that's your main project right now.
So that's going to be, the future project, right? So because, we can only get everybody here so drunk, and, maybe that's not even the actual goal, right? But maybe to just exhibit and, show off what beauty we have here in Hawaii that we can show off to the rest of the world too. Because to me, that's like what we did, right? That's what we come from as Hawaiian people, is we're storytellers, and we're giving you the experience of where we come from. And that's what everybody globally wants, right? Because we also did the circumnavigating before. We did the global trips, getting treaties signed, and also, giving performances, showing off who we are, what we do. So same again, we have a product that we can put on a shelf anywhere in the world and say, this comes straight out of our island, straight out of our soils, 100% organic. Yeah, it's really exciting.
And they get to learn about it.
They get to
learn.
What
is
and there's no shelf life.
Mean? What is,
So I looked it up. The okole is the bottom of the still. So the whole distilling process was done in old times, right? And that's the cast iron, the cast iron skillet, the cast iron pot, whatever. That's all they had, and they just put a roof on it to catch all the steam in the distillation process. So the okole how is a cast iron bottom.
And okole, if you don't know, the literal definition means butthole.
Anus.
Yes.
Rectum.
Sorry, that's the scientific word for it. And it's funny, I wanna break down some misconceptions right now. Is that, I find it so funny when people, they do cheers, they say okole maluna.
Okole maluna.
Which it's like bottoms up.
Sphincters up.
They think it's bottoms up. But I always laugh because it's literally, you're saying anus is up, butthole's up.
Buttholes to the sky.
Yeah, but it's just, you think it became a thing because it's a literal definition to bottoms up. They think okole is. Right. But elemu is a word for buttocks.
Right. Elemu.
Yeah, so it should be elemu iluna. Same with like wet okole, the seat covers. It's like you're saying, you think it's like wet butt, buttocks, but you're saying wet buttholes.
potentially leaking.
Yeah.
I mean, supports, but
Oh yeah, I support all of it. Yeah, but it's
I
just,
have the products. You know?
it's such a good product.
But
but
we really, but with one T.
yeah. I just thought that was funny. I always think about that. I never really talk about. I don't know. What do you think when people say
Yeah.
Maluna?
Also, you could say kamo. That's the actual way.
That's a new thing I heard recently.
Yeah, you right to be casting things on. Kamo, everybody together, and just keep it going. Kamo.
Yeah.
Okole maluna. There's another one too. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll go with Kamo for sure.
I gotta start drinking so I can learn.
You don't have
Science. No, it's the only way to do it.
Let me know. Ola Brew's got you, bro.
29 years of being sober. I'm ready just for science.
Dirty
for science.
30 for science.
30 for science.
I like it.
All right. Okay. Last question comes from Gabby Kama. She wants to know, how do you feel about UH? I don't know if there's they're looking for some sort of answer.
It's clickbait.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I was a professor, not a professor, a lecturer. People say that I'm a professor, but there's levels to that.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have experience being in the university system. I also know the struggles of being a Kanaka Maoli and what the university system is put in place. It's also a state-run organization, right? And so it's got all of those intentions and all of those agendas. So it is what it is, right? But we also have an opportunity to educate our people, right? We can't dismiss that it is an educational center. So just like anything, right? Just like, maybe a fish that comes on your hook that you wasn't trying to catch, but you gotta do something with it, right? You're gonna either eat it or you're gonna throw it back, or you gotta find something to do with it. But we're dealt this cards, right? And it's not that we have to complain so much about it. I mean, of course, never go idle and never just be silent, but utilize it to your advantage and make them support you, right? Rather than being idle and not, being idle and not really having an active hand in anything that's going on is one thing, right? And you can fight against what they got going on. But there are good things, right? And there are good people. There is human beings in these seats, right? And there are good ones, there are bad ones, right? And so it's just a deal of hands, right? And what's currently in place at the time. When I was in there, it wasn't my setting. I didn't thrive the way I could have. There were definitely areas I thrived in that I didn't know I had inside of myself. In a teaching setting, in a professional setting, in a real, structural, somewhat political setting. And so it's cool being there and being able to teach our culture to the masses, right? And like I said, we are the experts. We are the global experts, hands down, no matter what you can say. But they don't only teach Hawaiian language, right? It's not just a Hawaiian language school. I was utilizing it, and the Hawaiian language movement has utilized the university's efforts to support themselves and to get it to where we are today, which our language is thriving. Not everybody likes the style of language that comes out of Kahakaʻula, which is another thing we talk about, right? Like, his Olelo's too fancy. I don't want to Olelo in front of him because he went to college. Olelo, like, nah, it's all the same. We all the same people. But to recognize that about the UH, right? Like, who is the players that are making the moves that you don't like, and then who are the players in the university who are making the moves that you do like, right? Like, giving all of our children an opportunity to feel comfortable and feel educated and intelligent and push forward in a university system because they have kumu who are similar to them, right? So, like I said, again, I think it's just the leadership, and if we have a little more, liberty and say in what happens, maybe a lot more, then everything will be different, right? Everything will be normalized. It wouldn't be hard to command that people gotta, put Ola Hawaii as a dual language in many schools, not just our immersion schools or Kamehameha or whatever, but yeah, plenty of people could do it.
Yeah.
Could go.
Yeah, nice. Kiko Pao.
Kiko Pao. Yeah. I mean, maybe not. Kiko Pao.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. To be continued.
To be continued forever. Let's have the conversation,
Yeah. Okay, cool. it's funny that you mentioned the fancy olelo. It's like it's so easy for me to know when a person learned it in school or they
Right.
just like spoke it regularly, just because certain words that they use, the
Right.
structure.
Structures.
One of
Structure.
the
When you hear
things I could
structure, you're like,
always know
ooh, sassy.
you learned at Kamehameha High School,
Right.
or like maybe you learned in college. Like there's different levels. I could totally tell just from
Right.
like speaking it. It's almost like just growing up speaking Spanish, and then you hear somebody like speaking like kind of like very fancy Spanish, and then you totally know like they're using different or like very proper grammar instead of like colloquial
Right.
like words or something like that.
Or even like
it's kind of the same.
Spanish from Spain or Spanish from Mexico, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So you can
can
totally
understand
hear the
each other.
difference.
It's
Yes,
like-
yes, but yeah, you can hear the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
And
good
you hear
example.
certain vocabulary too, like,
Yeah.
oh, I never learned that word.
yeah, exactly. I feel like how like when I speak, it's just like lazy almost.
Mm.
It's just like I don't even say Ola, I just say Ale. Like when I talk to my dad, like Ale makamake.
Yeah, my daughters know now. Like I'm not a structural, police, but I like things to sound a certain way. And if I'm gonna have you learn from me, like you gotta know it sounded like me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I like to slur my words into each other. Like, but that's how I listen to my tutu kuakolu speak, right? So it's like
you speak how you learn, like the people
Right.
around you. That's basically what it is.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Facts.
All right, so mahalo everybody for these awesome Instagram questions. Make sure you leave
Mahalo.
some for our next guest, and maybe your question will make it on the podcast. All right, so we're at the back half of the podcast, and
Okay.
I want to get into some ʻāina stuff before we wrap up.
Right.
So before we get into farming and whatever, I want to know like what does Aloha ʻāina mean to you, and what is Aloha ʻāina, so that people can understand it.
Aloha ʻāina has its roots in a hui. It's a hui of Kanaka Maoli and also, I believe, residents of Hawaii. And they were opposed to the overthrow and the statehood, right? And so they had been preaching of, loyalty to their land and patriotism to their lands of where they come from. And I want to go out on a limb and say that it wasn't 100% Kanaka Maoli, but that there were people who were interested in keeping Hawaiian as a sovereign nation and to support the local efforts throughout history that weren't just Kanaka Maoli, and we had others who had understood that value. Moving on to the 70s with Anakala George Helm and the PKO, looking into the Proteko Olave Ohana and how they fought against the Navy and used that same standard of Aloha ʻāina, right? And to have love for their land and patriotism for who they are as Kanaka Maoli, and that they have genealogical ties to this place. And so to have our land bombed was a direct attack on our people and of our soul. And rest in peace to Dr. Emmett Aluli, who also recently passed. He helped to open up, the next generation of Aloha ʻāina and to preach all these philosophies of being connected to where you come from here in Hawaii and what it means to be a Kanaka Maoli. And so it's just that ongoing effort, right? And it's not just a slogan. It's not just a phrase you can put on a shirt, and not just something that you can tag onto the university, right? And just say, we are Aloha ʻāina University. So maybe that's where that question was going, but it's a little more historical, and it has a little more roots in political game, but also in the heartfelt pain of the Hawaiian people. Mm-hmm. And so it's a philosophy, it's a way of life, and it's a historical movement. Mm-hmm. That's still in progress today. Like I said, it's still
living
in play. Yeah. The PKO won Kaho'olawe back from the Navy, and the state said that it is going to be given back to the Hawaiian sovereign nation once it's established itself. So like the state gets it. The state sees. The state knows that it's illegally occupying Hawaii. Hawaii doesn't know that we are illegally occupied.
Or they know, and there's people in power who don't want it to change.
Well, I would think in the masses, right? Everybody's like, oh, statehood was in 59. And like, oh, we got to go celebrate Christmas and Thanksgiving because, 4th of July is coming around. Got to go get beers and all that. So I think we don't tell ourselves, we don't let ourselves understand that. Like, same way that maybe there's not a lot of internal support, right? We feel hesitant and scared to speak out or whatever. But same with, educating ourselves. Like, this is documentation. We have the paperwork. It's still in play. Like, they respect these papers because it's still live. So, yeah, just to re-educate ourselves and use that Aloha ʻāina background to draw into our identity and who we are and where we come from.
Yeah, awesome. Do you think you have to be able to farm and, plant kalo and do all of this to be considered Aloha ʻāina, to like Aloha ʻāina?
No, because like I said, it was a political movement at first, right? It was like, let's keep our sovereignty, let's keep our liberty and our ability to make decisions as an island community. And then from there, it was another political movement into like taking back our lands from the military. And like, so we've been overthrown, we've been illegally overthrown and been occupied illegally, but we can still fight as a political movement as Aloha ʻāina. It's tough too when you get into ag to me, because just because you do ag, it doesn't mean that you Aloha ʻāina, right? Like testing out chemical products on our ʻāina to see if it'll work as a GMO, spray, and we're using experimental poisons, right? That's not Aloha ʻāina. That's not helping our people. That's not connection to where you come from and identity and all that. So it's not just that you plant kalo or just that you eat from what you planted, but it's to do it in a way that it's going to support 3 generations later. That we're not just going to, eat now so that it's cheaper, but that it'll be healthier for the future generation. So it's all that philosophy that goes into it, not just a checklist, right? Yeah. And a lot of people treat it like that. Like, oh, I was on the Mauna, so I Aloha ʻāina. Or
check that,
check, right? Or
resume.
Like, I planted kalo, so I Aloha ʻāina. But does that kalo teach people about what that kalo is important for? Like, or is it just fried food? Maybe, you make kalo chips.
Yeah.
Like, that's not really Aloha ʻāina, but if you planting kalo to teach people the importance of kalo in Hawaii, that's like, the full aspect of Aloha ʻāina to me.
Yes. Awesome. I love it.
Mahalo you.
Yeah. So, like, why would somebody farm, for example, when it's way more convenient to go to KTA, to go to the store and just buy something, go to the farmer's market, buy something?
Imagine if when COVID started, we had one toilet paper tree. Right? That's the most like that's the one to me. That's the most tangible, that's the most tangible aspect of this whole threat. It's like, like you guys freaked out about the toilet paper. That's cool. Like, we got bidets. We got, the scoop, right? So it's not really an issue, but that was a tangible fear of like, oh my gosh. To me, I've always put it on the reverse, and people say, oh, something, why you guys want to be independent? Why you guys want to, do all this? What happens when the ships stop coming? Then what are you going to do? Will you still want to be independent? And my perspective is always, what if the ships show up and we say, we're good. We get plenty. We get everything we need already. Like,
turn around, go home.
Yeah. Sorry, we don't need to buy anything on your boat. You can leave it all on your boat and keep it because we're good. To me, that's the big question, right? Like, what happens when we're so sufficient? Because this island alone had like 1 million people, right? Big Island was a huge community, and it was all based off of this super fertile soil. Also, I don't know if everybody understands the depth of how in debt we are, like, as a economy in a way. But we have one working multi-animal slaughterhouse, and then we have the mobile slaughterhouse, but it's a privately owned on a ranch. But for our pigs, and even our beef. We don't have enough slaughterhouses for our farmers, for our livestock farmers. And so we raise our animals, send them away after they're birthed. We send them away as babies. They get fed on a ship for 2 to 3 weeks. Then they land and they go to somebody else's pasture. They eat corn for the rest of their life or whatever they're eating. And then they get slaughtered and butchered up there, placed into packages, and then sent back to us in frozen packages for us to then pay for 8 more times, right? So there's a lot of levels to how in debt we are in the agricultural side and the farming side, to the point where even if we wanted to, right, we couldn't all be farmers, and we've been forced and bottlenecked into this situation. So why is it important to be a farmer is so that you have importance, to your food, and you have importance with the system that it comes from and the price that you're paying for it. Second is that it's more important to be all the other people, right, to support the farmers, so that everybody who wants to be a farmer has a place to put their product, has a price point that we can all afford. Because, even just living here, right, is like so expensive. But then to live here and then to be paid as a butcher to do all these things, it never adds up to the point where we can support multiple butchers. Why don't we just open up more slaughterhouses? Because it's not that simple, right? There's too much USDA codes that put us all out of business, right? All the other ones that were in business are all gone. And then there's just not enough income, not enough farmers at this point, because even farming doesn't make enough money for the farmers to make income for the supported level, like the butchers and the whatever you want to call it. Restaurants are clicking on, right? And so that's where our scene is coming up. Like the foodies that want to taste right from our homes, right from our soils. That needs to be driven more, I think. We need more value in what comes right from the backyard.
Yeah, farm to table kind of thing.
Farm to table, and even deeper, talk to the farmer. Have that guy, kind of what we're doing with Ola, right? You have a farmer who can also come and speak with you and not just give you a tour, but that he's a part of the community, right? And he's not just flown in or whatever it might be. But
yeah,
it's a lot.
We got a long way to go, but at least we're on the right track.
Yeah, if we hold the value, to what is done locally and what we provide and what we can provide as an island economy. The other thing too is what I was always told. You put a mango or avocado, whatever you want it to be, from Hawaii, and you sell it right next to the one from the Philippines or from Mexico or from wherever it might be. Maybe not Japan, but Japan's got the idea. And the Hawaiian one will always sell for more and probably more efficiently and more rapidly because of the value that the world has on the Hawaiian culture, the Hawaiian place, right? That it is this pristine place. It has this value. So I think if we harness that idea and we utilize our island economy for what it's worth and we grow all the things that, we can export and feed our people with, right? So we don't need to import.
So basically, we just got to do what everybody has been doing to us, but for us.
Right.
Glade or Febreze. They got the scent Hawaiian Breeze.
Right.
What makes it Hawaiian Breeze? It's just Hawaiian Breeze so people buy it.
I think there is some legislation being passed for Kona coffee, and it has to be now from Kona or you get fined or something.
Wait, people have been saying Kona coffee and it's not even from Kona?
Right. You can.
The Hawaiian vanilla bean not even from Hawaii.
Most Kona coffee that was drinking, even still, most Kona coffee you drink is a 10% blend, but even that is not 100%
false
facts.
Advertisement.
They could be lying to you, and it could be just a brand, right? Like Kona coffee, but it's not from Kona.
Okay, I get it.
So that's why, there's I think there's legislation being put in place.
Okay, that's interesting.
There's an upside.
Yeah. Okay, would you live anywhere else in the world?
Never.
What if you had to?
It would be temporary.
Yeah.
I could see myself being somewhere for a project and putting in work or doing a mission of some sort and reaching out to other communities or working with another big artist or something, or I've talked about teaching in Oʻahu maybe for a couple of years at a time, or doing studies abroad, but forever I would have to come back here.
Yeah.
Because I don't know who I would be. I mean, I would be telling people about who I am and what I do, but I wouldn't be that guy, right? I
Yeah.
would be somewhere else. So
I feel like that's a struggle that people are living or going through that have been pushed out of Hawaii, who live, in Vegas, Utah, California.
yeah.
And that's what they struggle with, is like trying to be Hawaiian and live your culture, live your life in a place
In a
that
foreign place.
isn't not accepted. It's not celebrated.
It's not celebrated, and it's not comfy to be doing that. And what is comfy is to get swept away and just be, one big blur, one big blob. So yeah, we gotta have that passion for identity, and
It is an awesome feeling knowing that you are local here. It's like, you can walk with your chest a little higher, and like you feel like you have power over, like when I just went to California not too long ago, and I just felt like
I see what you're saying.
so small.
Yeah.
Just like I was like, I didn't matter there,
Yeah, for sure. And even
It
as
was
like
weird
musicians,
feeling.
you talk about that whole experience we had with was that Mary Monarch, and then right after that we went on tour with Rebel Soldiers, I think. And it's like, yeah, we get that chicken skin, and like you said, local celebrities or whatever, all this stuff. And then you go up there, and then you realize that like island reggae music is like such a defined, like finite category to there. Like you're nobody. You're absolutely nobody. Like even though you think you're somebody, like you're just talking about music in general. Like there's so much competition. Reggae music, oh my gosh, there's like so much different like genres of reggae music too. Island reggae music, like that's a real niche market. And then you still got to compete of like who's where in the hierarchy, and like, yeah, you're totally nobody for sure. I mean, I'm nobody.
That's why it is nice being home, and like
For sure. And
not even like being a celebrity wise, but just knowing that like you're a part of the community.
yeah, you have
Like,
direct results of what input you have in your community.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, what are you most proud of so far of everything that you've done?
I would for sure tie them together, but my kids for sure, and the Olala Hawaii, and the potential legacy that I have to leave. I think knock on wood, but I think I would be happy if I was to go tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like just unfulfilled, and I think that's what I move forward with in life every day. Is like, I am who I am, and we are where we are. And we're happy about that. And I think I've done good, and I think that if we just keep on this track and we keep doing good, then we'll forever be fulfilled and be happy with where we are and who we are. But yeah, with my kids, and to see a tangible result of like, Olala Hawaii ka olala mua ma ke ia hale a pa'aloa ka olala Hawaii a laua. The teachers, are always saying, wow, so amazing that, they really live this lifestyle and that they really know that they're living it. I can see values distilled. So like with me, like my father passed away before I was born. And so that too, is like living up to something that I can, promote, that, tell him like, this is what I did, I made it this far, he made 35, so I'm at 30. So if I can make it to 35, that's also like another thing, like check it off the list, and I'll retire at 40, and like just coast and enjoy my life from that point on. Really proud of, being able to be a father and to have that impact on the next generation, like in a physical sense. And I have two children that I see it manifesting in front of me, and I was like, wow, like, I did all right with no dad.
That.
Yeah, I did all right with no dad. You guys got 2 to 4 years with me. Like, you solid already. You got it. That's where my pride would lie. Not so much in the music or the hard work. It's kind of just more humbling and just more of a sense of why we got to keep doing more of it. But
amazing. I love it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Okay. What is something you wish people knew about you that they don't?
I'm only 30 years old.
I know. I was just telling her like, what year you grad?
You know, I used to teach at Paul High School, and they was like, Mister, how old are you? I was like, oh, I'm like, at that time I was like 26. Like, no, you 40. I was like, what? It's like, how much kids you get, mister? I was like, wow, no more kids. No, you gotta have at least 3 kids, mister. You old. I'm like, you have no clue. But like then once I left there and I like actually got deeper into music, then everybody was like, what, you're how old? I'm like, what does that mean, anything? But yeah,
It's just because of the beard. It's the beard.
It's the beard. I have a 40-year-old beard for sure.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it matches you. Like
it's
that
not my
is-
fault. It's just low maintenance. That's all this is. It's not like I'm trying to grow my beard. This
Hey,
is
he's
like,
trying to grow your kalo and raise your pig so you can
Right,
eat.
right.
So leave him alone.
grow your la'i.
Yeah, he doesn't got time to cut his beard.
It's just an extension of my
Yeah.
body is all it is. Same with my hair. That's the other thing too, is like with my beard, I'll cut it like when it irritates me. It's pretty much there.
Yeah,
I
it's
gotta
at
cut
that
this.
point.
Yeah, you can see me like brushing off this stuff and like getting in my lips, but my hair is like some monumental moment. So first one out of 7 kids to graduate from college.
Wow.
And I hadn't buzzed my hair since I graduated from high school. Cut my hair after graduating, and then once we get on this property, I'm probably gonna cut my hair again. Just a spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Once we move over there.
What about the beard? You ever shave it?
I mean, no, not all the way down.
yeah.
I look horrible. I look like an 18-year-old kid once the beard's gone. You know what I mean? I gotta have a
Complete
little,
shift. Yeah.
little scruff.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. So what are your future goals? What do you plan to do? What is like,
So we kind of talked about it a little bit
purpose.
before the show,
Yeah.
and I talked about it with the woman at Department of Ag. So jumping on the Department of Ag lease lot, get that thing worked out, extend it so that we're on that property long term, and then eventually, maybe work in Department of Ag or somewhere where we can get a little more leverage into maybe getting into politics a little bit, and really making change in the legislative realm. But yeah, I always thought it'd be kind of fun to campaign and just do like a tour.
Yeah.
I throw my own campaign
And
parties.
you don't have to hire people to sing. You just sing yourself.
Right. $5 a ticket. I don't even gotta pay for nothing.
I know.
Like we'll make a real cheap ticket. Everybody can come out, like live entertainment the whole night.
That'd be cool.
We'll just preach between each song, and
Yeah.
spit fire and rants.
Yeah. And I like how you're trying to put in the work before.
Right. And
going
everybody
in.
said too, like,
Yeah.
oh, how come you don't run for anything like now? Like my body still work.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, my back been hurting. But I still got a young body. I'm only 30 years old, so
10 more years.
yeah, 10 more years, I'll work it in the in the heavy machineries and get on my knees and plant all these things, and eventually I'll retire and sit back and sing on the home studio and pick my fruit and maybe go to a board meeting at the governor's office or something, and.
Maybe this is foreshadowing because we're at now. It kind of seems like the governor's office.
I need a flip board for the current governor. I need a flipping erase board, dry erase.
Get this guy a whiteboard.
Come
some
on,
dry
Gov.
erase pens.
We need something up here.
Awesome. Okay, I like how your future goals. You didn't mention anything about music. It was just about.
Yeah, I would be down to kind of like what I'm doing now. I never really aimed to be, like I said, a big time musician or a big celebrity. I just wanted to tell my story. I just wanted to talk and educate, and at my will, right? So not to be signed to a label or to sign to somebody who's like demanding you got to perform 3 times every weekend, and or hotel gigs, or you got to do it 5-6 times a week.
Yeah.
That's not the life for me. So just to do music on the side as leisure, as like a hobby, and then. Hard to get canceled if nobody owns anything you do. You just plus with the streaming, you can just drop it. It's it's there. It's
Easy.
if you want to listen to me, you can listen to me. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah. Over 5 million streams on Spotify. You're on your top song.
Oh,
It's a lot.
cliche.
No, not this.
Oh, I
Your
was
top
like,
song has over 5
Yeah,
million.
yeah.
But I just listened to that one. It's a collab with somebody.
These guys.
These guys.
So it's the band. It's like a live album.
I'm thinking because the cover art has a woman.
Oh,
That's why I was thinking.
Another little knowledge drop, a nugget.
Yeah.
That's the baby mama right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, like we said, we're not really together, but we love our loved ones, right? And we appreciate, the fact that she is the mother of my children, and I hope that my children can see a strong mother in her, and gotta empower that as much as I can. But yeah, just no matter what the situation is, you gotta tell your loved ones that you love them, and that's the drop on the new song, the new vibe.
Awesome. All right, so before we end, I gotta know, what is your life hack? What is your life hack?
Oh, my life hack.
Everybody? Moment of truth.
So this one is actually coming from the song Perfarmer, and it actually comes from Olelo no Eau. Mahea oi makavao kaua. So a sweet potato farmer, or somebody would come up to the sweet potato farmer and say, "Hey, I'm so hungry, man. You think I could get some sweet potatoes off of you? Like just a couple on the side?" And he would respond, "Mahea oi makavao kaua nui. Mahea oi makavao ua." Where were you when it was storming? Where were you when it was raining? You should have been out planting. So there's two parts to it. One, your soil is already moist and fertile and ready to be planted. And if you put anything in the ground while it's wet, most likely it'll root and it'll be able to grow. And you don't have to worry about irrigation systems, because that's just the way it was back in the day. You plant when it's raining. So that's one life hack. Actual life knowledge of planting when it rains. Second, where were you during the storm? Like when times was hard, that's when you really got to work the hardest. So even though times is hard and we're down right now, maybe you're up, maybe you're down, but when you get through those real tough moments, that's when you got to work the hardest, because that's when the most fruits will come out. Like that's the metaphoric side of it. If you were there when it was storming, when it was raining, right, when we all could just hide in the shelter because it's cold, cuddle up, then when it's nice and sunny out, then you have nothing to speak for, and it's hard to live. But if you're pounding there, same time the rain is pounding, then we all can come out all flourishing, and everybody can come out from the house and be stoked that the u'alas is growing.
I love that. I love that. That's a great life hack. And I'm happy you brought an Olelo no Eau to it, because I love Olelo no Eau. It kind of just talks about like fair weather people, fair weather friends.
Yeah. And Hilo, we rain. So
you got to either learn how to dance and plant in the rain, or you go back to Oʻahu.
Right.
Okay, right on. I got my last 5 rapid fire questions for you, and then we're going to wrap it up. What is your favorite thing to cook?
Oh, favorite thing to cook? I cook, I cook a lot.
I can imagine that, yeah.
Yeah, I cook a lot.
What is the Kaikena special?
Oh, porgy bean soup. Porgy bean soup, because that's where, like, as a butcher, my mom would tell me it's called Portuguese bean soup. Here's another joke from Uncle Kelly Boy. He said, you know the difference between the Portuguese and the Portuguese? The Portuguese came on a boat from Portugal. The Portuguese swam. And then the follow-up was, so that's how you know we the strong ones. But he's, full Portuguese guy. But anyway, favorite thing to cook would be Portuguese bean soup or Portuguese bean soup, because it really like showcases the butchery. You can make sausage, you put in there. You make bacon, you put in there. You put ham in there. You put, offcuts of meat. You put the smoked bones, the ham hock in there.
Making me hungry.
You know what I mean? The pig's feet, if you really know, and you get that real thick broth. And then, it's just good memories. Tradition at my house.
Comfort food,
warm. Sweet bread, and always Christmas time, like when it's cold,
Awesome.
Portuguese bean soup.
Love it.
And you can never make too much, because you always can Ziploc them and stash them for the next week.
Awesome. Love that. Okay, what is your favorite song to perform?
Probably Smoke All Day.
It's a fun one.
Yeah, it's between Smoke All Day or Hey Kanaka, but it depends on where you're at. And I would say the majority of the time it's going to be Smoke All Day, because you can scream "Where's on my Kanaka Maoli," but sometimes you're on tour and no more Kanaka Maoli.
Yeah.
But Smoke All Day is always the funnest, because spoiler alert, but we like when the crowd sings it.
Yeah.
So then when we hear that the crowd is singing it, which it's become every single time, just because we always hear the crowd singing it. But there's times where like we have no crowd participation, so we don't do the second verse twice. But once we hear the crowd singing the second verse with us, Then the second time we do the same verse and we have the crowd sing it, and that's its own thing, man. When they're screaming the lyrics and they get to sing the song.
That's what I love about that concert.
Yeah, Kanaka same way.
So
like
fun.
when you get Kanaka with the Oʻahu and the kids too. Oh, yeah, you gotta fight the tears.
Yeah. Well,
for sure.
Okay, what is your favorite local business?
Ola Brew, gotta be.
I set you up for that one. You're welcome, Ola Brew.
Hawaiian Ola Brewing Corporation.
Yeah. What is one of your favorite like local restaurants? If somebody was asking you to come check one out.
So there's a few. So Kaunamano Farms is also another favorite local business. Sig Zane keeps us looking fresh always. Uncle Sig and the whole Ohana.
And I was trying to get Kuha'o and Uncle Sig on top this trip, but
to get the both of them in one room at any time is hard.
That's hard. They said they've never done that before, so I was like, I want to be the first to do that.
They started doing a podcast in the COVID times.
Both of them together?
Yeah, but it's just like an Instagram live.
Oh, okay.
So they weren't really talking. They were just kind of like, hey, what's up?
Yeah. I remember that. They would do like Pauhanas or something.
Yeah, Pauhanas.
Yeah.
And then so local restaurants, Moon and Turtle from Sonia and Mark. Then you also got Napua's out in the Mauna Lani. So it's kind of higher end, super high end, but that's where our pork is served out at Napua's. Ola Brew's got the tap room. They got the best smash burger on the island. Best smash burger on the big island. You gotta get it.
And they got trivia nights too, if anybody.
I think they still do trivia on Tuesdays. Yeah.
They got trivia nights. That's fun.
Yeah, local music, all the goodies.
Awesome. They're something dessert. It's like it's served with vanilla ice cream. It's like
the bao buns. But like a churro.
Yeah.
Cinnamon sugar bao buns.
Yeah, I think I got
ice cream with the drizzle.
Yeah.
I might meet you there.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
All right, favorite childhood snack?
I mean, kind of shameful to admit it, but the dry ramen packet.
That was the same answer as Ray Cooper Jr., the fighter.
Dry ramen, and then the other one too was even like on the bus going home was just the hot chocolate packet. Like,
hot chocolate packet.
Just the hot chocolate. No, if you're like civil, you dip your finger,
Civil.
But there's points where you just. But yeah, it was like it lasted the whole bus ride home.
Wow,
so.
I never heard that one before. But the ramen, everyone.
Because you can't bring chocolate to school and then it's all melted by the time you're going home.
Yeah.
But like a hot chocolate packet, you could even pick one up at school. Like some teachers have hot chocolate in their drawer.
Wow, I've never. With the marshmallows inside too.
Good times, bro. It's good times.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of memories with you put the ramen inside.
Or Kamehameha schools had the chicken musubi at one point.
Hey, not all of us had good Kamehameha schools.
It was like somebody would go down the hill to the Okazuya spot and they made one deal with the Okazuya guy and came back with like 50 giant. There's like a bento size, like a whole piece chicken. Yeah, it was wild. I'm like, how did this pass? How did we get this?
I heard rumors are Kamehameha had the best lunch out of all the schools over here.
Hands down. Probably of like, any school ever, maybe. Yeah. I mean, it got degraded at one point.
Yeah, I don't know how the Oʻahu schools are like Punahou, Iola, and those private schools. Right. But at least on the Big Island, I'm sure you guys.
Yeah. And Kapalama was free. I think Punahou, you had to like have a charge card or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Kamehameha, you could go 5 plates deep, like loaded. Okay, you want to hear another bomb right there? I'll give you another one.
Drop them right before we end.
So we had 7th and 8th period free, and it was the wrestling boys, and this is where maybe my musical career started. Before Hey Kanaka, maybe why I wanted to write Hey Kanaka, but. 7th period was like the last period for lunch, and 8th period was like the last period of the day. So somehow, year after year, I had those 2 free. And like all of our wrestling boys was always 7th period lunch. So what we did was we created a system. We had a Zippy's bucket in the locker, and we had cups ready, and we would mix ava in the performing arts room, and somebody would be given responsibility based on the day or the week or whatever, who got to run down and make peanut butter jelly sandwiches. Because they also have a peanut butter jelly sandwich bar with like multiple jellies and like juices and everything. But so you'd run down, you'd make like 8 peanut butter jellies, run back up, spend half an hour mixing ava, drinking and playing music. last 45 minutes, you still have another period free, drinking and playing music, and then you're on the bus going home and
Feeling good.
kids do not follow this example, but I'm just telling you, that's where
I
it
don't
came
know.
from.
It makes me want to send my kids to
Yeah.
South Alabama.
Send them with a Zippies bucket.
Yeah.
It'll be a whole new world.
What a
What am I using
Kamaka
this
Jr.
for?
How come you asking on Zippy's
One
bucket?
day you learn.
I got my my school supplies inside. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Just keep it in my locker.
All right. Last question of this
Sure.
one. Favorite cruise spot in Hilo? It's like, what do you like to do?
Can I tell people that? Nah. Ola Brew, gotta be. Yeah, you'll find me at Ola Brew Tap Room in Hilo probably like 3-4 days a week. I just came from eating lunch there. I ate lunch there yesterday.
Yeah.
Probably gonna eat dinner there. You never know. Yeah, I like to hang out there. Or at the farms. Yeah, I have a lot of, luxury, I guess you could call it, but really, lucky to have the ʻāina that I work at. So it's real secluded. And that's what people trip out the most about. It's like, oh, this is what you do every day? Like, yeah, I do this more than I play music. Like, I'll go play music and go play like a Ola Hilo and have, 100 people, 1,000 people, whatever, screaming my lyrics. The next day, we're like at a pig farm, 20 acres, and there's no humans, just pigs. Or like 40 acres, tea leaf farm. Yeah. No humans, just me, just working. But that's like kind of an introvert. Might be hard to tell, but yeah, I'd rather be by myself.
Yeah. Well, you need that time to
Zen.
recharge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's pretty much all we have, and I just want to just do like a little asterisk, whatever. Like, we talk about Ola Hilo, like we're like promoting it, but honestly, it is awesome. Like they're like what they do is awesome.
Organic products.
Like the restaurant in Hilo, like it's popping. It's popping.
All the flavors are sourced from local agriculture.
They over there. Yeah. What they do just like ethically is really good, but like the food is super good. The vibes, they're
community
awesome.
owned.
They always like support different events. Like Ola awesome.
Ola's at the top.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
I just wanted to like clarify that we're
and
not
it's not
just doing
because I
that
work
just-
for them.
yeah.
Because I was saying this before
don't
I
even
worked
work
for
for-
them.
I
And
don't-
that's
yeah.
why I work for them.
Yeah.
Maybe we might have something for you, bro.
Yeah. Even though also
more
they
you
give
like it.
discounts to the firefighters.
Yeah. No, there was times in
Yeah.
COVID where like they couldn't get rid of some of the alcohol, and so they would just drop off cases to the firefighters
love
and be
that,
like, hey, it's got to go somewhere,
Yeah.
and give it to the people who give back.
If they
So
want to sponsor the podcast, you know. You can do that.
hey, we got you, bro. We got something for you. We got you.
All right. Well, you have anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
Mahalo no kia hui ana ina no ua ho ea I ke ia wahi ho peloa e ola mau ka olelo Hawaii a ho maa mau I ka olelo Hawaii kako I ka poe o iwi o Hawaii a me na pāhana na mea like ole pa oihana a e olu e ho'olohe I na mele a Kaikena ma. Yeah.
If you don't know what he said, go learn Hawaiian.
And go learn
Google it.
Hawaiian. Ola.
Yeah. And Jordan, he actually was talking mad crap about you. That's basically what he said.
Yeah. The guy in the back, I said, nah.
Yeah. All right. Well, mahalo Kaikena for joining us on the Hawaiiverse podcast. Check us out on Hawaiiverse.com, the best place to support local. Spread aloha, be kind to one another, and mahalo for listening to us today. New episodes every Thursday, so make sure you follow us and leave a review. I'm your host, Kanaka, and you hear me next time on the Hawaiiverse podcast. Hui ho.
Shoo.